Hi, I'm Jordan with the Community Foundation of Greater Des Moines, and I'm out here on the porch today with my friend Angela Reed with Tarbell and Company. Angela is a partner and CPA at Tarbell, and she's also a member of our Professional Advisor Council. And today we're talking about the Endow Iowa Tax Credit. So the Endow Iowa Tax Credit is a 25% credit for Iowans that give through Community Foundation to Iowa charities and endow their giving. Three legs of the stool there, a lot to unpack, and I wanted to bring in the expert with Angela to talk a little bit more about that credit. So Angela, thanks for being here today.
Well, expert, that's a pretty big word. Hopefully I can live up to that.
I think so. So we'll start maybe with something a little bit more simple for you, maybe Tax 101. Endow Iowa Tax Credit, that last word, credit. Can we talk just a little bit about what is the difference between tax credit and a tax deduction?
Sure. So tax credits actually go to reduce the actual tax that you pay for federal or state income tax purposes. So for the Endow Iowa tax credit, that's an actual state tax credit. So that credit would reduce the amount of tax that you have to pay on your state tax return dollar for dollar. You still, however, get an Iowa tax credit, but for the federal tax return, you actually take a federal tax deduction for that donation that you make to the Endow Iowa Fund, net of the Iowa tax credit.
So the tax deduction on your federal return is in addition to the tax credit on your state return?
That's correct, yes. Assuming you can itemize if it's on an individual tax return.
Right. And Angela, you're working with a number of clients of all sorts of means and wealth, and I imagine you're having this conversation with a lot of them. What are you listening for from your clients when you're thinking, gosh, maybe Endow Iowa is something they should know about?
Yeah, so I think one of the key points that we look at is if somebody has or going to have a large taxable event, so maybe creating some additional taxable income that they hadn't had in the past, or perhaps wanting to leave a legacy for perhaps when they are no longer able to donate money. So those are some of the key points. Also, I would say it's important if people are charitable of nature. This gives them an opportunity to maybe look at another option for charitable donations that they might want to endeavor to support.
Yeah, great. And you mentioned planning for that tax moment, and that brings me to my next question. For those that are aware of the Endow Iowa tax credit, it's been a really popular credit, and some might say too popular, in that we are currently awarding 2024 tax credits, and here we are in June of 2022. So can you tell me just a little bit about how do we plan for and navigate around this complexity of a credit that's a few years into the future?
Yeah, so we do run into that quite a bit with clients that we work with. That's actually a good question. So we've got clients that have made donations to an Endow Iowa fund and perhaps are not going to receive that credit now to be in line for the 2024. So they can continue to get that tax deduction on their federal tax return for 2022 or whatever year that they've made the donation. And then that tax credit can be made use of in the year credit is awarded to them. And in this case, currently 2024. And so that credit can go to reduce the tax that they have to pay in the Iowa tax return for 2024.
Great. So just requires a little bit more patience and planning with those clients. So Angela, you work with individual clients, but you also work with nonprofit organizations as clients as well. What are some things that nonprofits should know about this tax credit?
So that's a good question. We have quite a few nonprofit clients that have funds at the Community Foundation. Some of those funds are specifically Endow Iowa funds. We also have individuals or businesses that might be contributing to an Endow Iowa fund, and that particular fund, then on an annual basis, the representatives of that fund can determine where those annual designations from that Endow Iowa money can go to. And so we have kind of a mix. Sometimes charities are receiving funds from businesses or organizations that have a fund here at Community Foundation that's Endow Iowa. Or we also have situations where a nonprofit organization might have an Endow Iowa fund here at the Community Foundation.
If you are thinking about the Endow Iowa tax credit yourself or for a client and you're wondering, what are the organizations I can give to receive that tax credit? It might be as simple as giving to one of these endowments that's already around. If you want to learn more about that or about the tax credit as a whole, feel free to get a hold of us, 515-883-2626, or by email. Thanks so much.